Okay, we want to get started right away. This is going to be very interactive, and Patricia and I are super excited about this. Okay, here we go. Let me share my screen. Okay. Whispers of the body, understanding fear's role in our food journey. This is a really interesting topic that both Patricia and I are super excited about. So, Patricia, do you want to just give the broad strokes? There's a whole lot on this screen. We don't need to read it all.
I just want you to know that I'm a life coach, certified life coach. I maintain a weight loss for over 9 years now. And there's a bunch of stuff on here, but the slideshow is going to come to you so you can look at it later. Uh, Look at all the things that, from my background.
I am so thrilled to be working with you. And this is me. I do come from a what I call uber fluffy state. Releasing a lot of weight changes a lot of things about you and affects a lot of things. And I'm not saying less weight release is different, but it is. I'll just go with that. That doesn't mean it's wrong or better. I just know that coming from a big weight loss is a big deal for physiological and other things. And I've done a lot of study on the neuroscience and the psychology and the medicine around this, the complex relationship between our life experience and food and how much it is a coping mechanism. It's quite startling to me every time I study something about drug addiction or alcohol addiction, how many connected dots I see. So today, Patricia and I chose a topic that is it could rile up a lot of things. So I want you to just start noticing what's coming up for you when we say these things. We hear these things in our head, but when you're hearing them from someone else, I want you to think about what's coming up for you. And I'd love for you to put these things in the chat thread as they're happening for you. Yes, that makes sense to me. Yes, I've heard that before. Or yes, I say that to myself all the time. It's so hard. Where you're feeling it in your body. So we all know that voice. Oh my gosh, I just put that in my mouth. We watch ourselves do it. Or I can't believe that stuff still sends me spiraling. We're so affected by it, we can't even listen to, the ceremony because all we're thinking about is the buffet table. You're going to gain it all back. The one constant that has been our constant companion, our harsh critic, our relentless judge. For many of us, this voice has been with us for decades, shaping our days, our choices, and our lives.
And even as we go through our weight loss journey, these are becoming aware of what I've just said to myself. Oh my gosh, I just put this in my mouth. I can't believe this stuff is going to send me spiraling. Oh my God, what if I gain all my weight back? Just kind of go into your body in this moment and think about what are the constant fears that come up for you? What are the voices that you say?
Abject fear was where I lived for a very long time. I had actually resigned myself and said, nope, I'm never going to release the weight. I've done a lot of work around fixing my health, but I was never going to lose the weight. And then all of a sudden and I was terrified, terrified. Abject fear ruled my days and my nights, and I would be so vigilant, and I was terrified of adding or subtracting on that food scale.
And wait a minute, wait a minute, I didn't do it right. What the heck? I have to start from all over again.
So in looking at these words, what I'd like for you to do is think about what is going on in your system. Is your chest tensing up? Is your throat constricting? Are you feeling like you want to run and hide? Are you feeling like you want to hit the delete button and get away from this call? How many of these resonate with you? Do you want to read the first section, Patricia?
Fear of loss of control. If I start eating, I'll never stop. I can't trust myself around certain foods. One bite will lead to complete spiral. It's all or nothing.
How many are feeling this in their bones? All or nothing. Yep, it's all or nothing.
I have to start all over. I have to start all over.
The fear of return. I've worked so hard to get back here. I can't go back. Terrified, abject fear, gripping the steering wheel, sticking my fingernails and gripping that steering wheel so tightly. Everything was focused on every moment of my food journey. I'm seen now, and I hate it. The first time I was seen when I was starting to get thin, you'd see that look. Absolutely. Panic, panic. Who am I if I'm not focused on the food? This idea of, well, what all I've done all my life is think about food. And every celebration has been about food. And every situation I've ever gone to or been in has been focused on food. And what if I gain all the way back? Because I've done it. I have data. I have so much data. I probably, if I were to go back and look at all my Weight Watchers connections, I probably released 1,000 pounds and gained 1,200, right? I've gained 1,200 back. That's the history of me. And so I have a ton of data. I have a ton of data. You want to read
Well,
the fear of judgment?
sure. I was just starting to read some of the things people are already beginning to put in the thing, kind of combing their body to
Hmm.
to what's been going on. Uh, I felt that way for a long time. Fear of return. Durrell has panic. Cheryl's talking about I'm doing it again and I can't stop it. What if I never stop it? History has proven, Eva talks about that I can stay. I've had this experience before and I've gone back. Yes, we have evidence, Eva. Tommy is resonating with Eva there. Donna says, I definitely don't trust myself to take one more bite of the sugary stuff. Uh, Darrell is concerned he's going to gain it all back. A good
Hmm.
one. Why don't I just quit trying?
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
tried before over and over again. I had one for a long time was this, why don't I just learn to accept myself in the body that I have? Except I never could. I do now, but I couldn't. I was just going round and round. I'll gain it back. Yeah, maybe I should quit trying. The fear is real, Denise. Yes, the fear is real.
It
So
is.
the fear of judgment, everyone's watching what I eat. And that can go either way. They're watching what I'm eating, and some of it is like I'm making people feel bad because they keep telling me how disciplined I am, and it makes me I feel terrible. I don't want to make people feel bad or or whatever way that one goes. That can go in a few different ways. I'm wearing my flaws on my sleeve. No one understands me. No, but you don't understand me. No, but you wait, no, you don't understand how it is for me. They'll think I have no willpower. I'm better off alone.
The fear is real, Denise says, and I'll never be able to do this, Donna says. I've lost that fear of judgment. Should I be fearful? Such a great question. I don't look at it as I used to be abjectly terrified of gaining my weight back. And now I have a healthy respect for what those substances could do to me. And that is a turning down of the volume and a shifting. And what we want to do today is to share with you something that is, in my opinion, the most important thing in the world. Right now, you're looking at your physical body. I'd like for you to feel where this is feeling right now. You've already written in here what has been going on for you. You've already written in here how the things that you've been thinking. Where are you feeling it in your system right now? Are you feeling tension in your jaw possibly? Are you getting a headache? Are you feeling tension in your shoulders? Are you, like I said, feeling like you want to run away? Teresa says, my issue is that I think I can eat sugar and then go back to the plan. This hurts me because it's a constant diet roller coaster. Oh, so true.
It's I'm either gaining or losing. There's
Right,
no there's no fixing. There's gaining or losing.
right. Tracy says, I've already gained back half of it. I tried so hard. It's not possible to get back to where I felt so good. Eva says, I have a healthy respect. What a great reframe for the fear. Tracy says, yes, I want to leave. I'm in the wrong place. I'm different. It's amazing to me how many people have already said in the chat thread how they're feeling the same way, and yet we still feel that isolation and we still want to run because we see, yeah, but my situation is different. You don't understand. I have all the support in the world and I'm still doing this thing wrong. All of these things are going through. I want to stop thinking I'm broken. Absolutely. Tommy says my head, neck, and shoulders have been so achy and tight. Yes. Yes. I get like a constriction in my throat and my jaw gets really tense as if my voice can't resonate correctly. I'm not able to speak what I'm really feeling. Teresa says I want to stop thinking I'm broken. Kate says a stone in my belly. Oh, Jennifer, punch in the gut, clenched jaw and muscle pain. Jaw cleansing too. Okay, so here's the big deal, guys. This is it right here. Is this a lion and tiger or bear? Oh my.
This
Because
fear,
yes,
this
what
fear.
all the things that we've been talking about. This is about our physical body is reacting to what we're thinking. But it is not happening to us. There's not a lion or tiger or bear in the sight. These are our inner thoughts. This is an inside job. And you know what that means? Do you know what that means? That means that physically we're responding to a threat and cortisol is streaming through our system. Our adrenaline is off the charts because we're scared. But we're scared because of something that we have been thinking, not because of a lion, a tiger, or a bear. We're scared. But our body is reacting in that way. Guess what else happens? Our digestive system shuts down because it's preparing for a run. It's preparing to stream away from that lion, tiger, or bear. Our brain does not recognize that this is an internal issue that we're struggling with. We need our entire brain, but what has happened when we go through this place is our amygdala shuts everything off. So the prefrontal cortex, where we can think this through, where we can literally look at the thing that we're staring at that we want so badly and say to ourselves, wait a minute, is this really true? Do I really, really want this? Or is there something else going on? But I can't think that way when my brain is hijacked by this physical reaction that we've given ourselves. So what Patricia and I have done with this amazing system that we're going to show you today is that we've been able to give you the gift of shifting in that moment to take that amygdala scream and relax it and move it into the prefrontal cortex where we can think, where we can look at this logically.
Because when we're in fear, we're our brain is like, ah, we can't think anything else. It's like a forest fire just going. We're consumed with the, oh my God, I'm so afraid, I'm so afraid, I'm so afraid. And we have in our past, we've learned to look at what's wrong and have us ourselves feel we have to work on what's wrong. And we're shifting in a different way here. That's what we want to begin talking, becoming, noticing the state of mind you're in. Lions, tigers, bears. Ah, ah. You have no agency within yourself when we're up here really being frantic. And this is not about don't be there. Don't be up in your mind. Don't be afraid. I'm not saying don't be afraid. We have to learn tools on how to shift from that screaming mind into looking at how to navigate this. That's what our talk is today.
So I want you to hear, at this point in your life, you've probably figured out a food plan that probably works for you. You've probably figured out the broad strokes. There may be some nuances that need tweaking, as in I've started exercising after, years of not or whatever. There may be some tweaking that needs to be done. I frankly have tweaked my food plan probably 20 times in the last 8, 9 years because of my body. My body is sophisticated and my body has special things that go on. This reframing for this, I am still have a real healthy respect for certain things that do not serve my body. They nurture my soul technically in that moment, but they don't nurture my cells. So that system that I look at is this is ultra processed garbage. It's not food. This is healthy and nutritious and delicious support for my body. And I have a healthy respect for what this stuff, this ultra processed garbage, can do to me. It shifts my gut biome. It makes my brain scream, feed me more, feed me more. That's why it's really challenging to have a little bit or make an exception. It is really challenging. I'm not suggesting that complete abstinence is the only answer, but we get to be aware of the things that are going on in our bodies and our minds when we make an exception, if you're talking about abstinence. So here is a quick synopsis of what's going on physically. You've already felt it. I know every one of you has felt the physical fear that's gone on with some of these issues, some of these statements that we make for ourselves that are coming from our heads. Our Patricia goes into this beautifully, but coming from our not from our authentic self. They're coming from the fears from within. So let me share my screen. We're going to go into a little bit more detail. Please put in the chat thread anything that might make sense to you that you'd like to share with us while we're going through this. Don't forget, this is an inside job, and that's the pause that you get to make when you're feeling this, because our systems go crazy just from living life. Our systems are high stress based just from living in this current world. Let's not make it worse by making these other issues that are going on inside of us louder. So our system's choreography, our nervous system's choreography has a big impact on our food relationship. We understand how these responses create our unique food story. There are behavioral issues that we run into regularly. There are certain patterns that we set up for ourselves we don't even realize we're doing. All of these are mapping in our neural system. So we get to notice these things and shift them, and that's what this is all about. Do you want to read the inner warrior, Patricia?
Yeah, so we have various reactions when we're in that state of fear, and these reactions are in front of you here. The inner warrior, fight. When food becomes the enemy, recognizing warrior energy in your eating patterns. The battle stance, aggressive restriction and control. So we fight it by like, okay, I'm going to get on this way. I'm never going to get off this. So we fight. And sometimes perfection binds us up in a way that there's no space, and the fear continues being in that perfectionistic mind.
There's flight associated with evading the circumstance. Maybe you're not taking vacations, or maybe you're terrified to go out to eat, or maybe you decline invitations with your friends. I'm not saying that's not a good decision when we're in a really stressful situation, but is that the way we're going to live our lives? The one thing that I've seen in my journey for realizing, oh my gosh, I can actually do this thing is is recognizing that there's sticking to this food plan in this really beautiful little space, and there's living. And I needed to figure out how to do both. And this is about reframing and adjusting. And this flight business is so common. I see so many people saying, I really had a horrible time. I stayed in my room the whole time of my vacation. My family went out to eat a lot. Or I brought this massive suitcase of all the food I was going to have during this whole time, which might be the thing you need to do. But remembering that that is possibly not sustainable, and you're going to run into situations, and how can you get to those? Patricia, you want to go to the freeze?
Yeah, so this is another reaction. When we're in the state of fear, when we're in that mind state of fear, ah, some of us freeze. Some of us do all of them at some time or another, but one is to freeze. Getting stuck in a decision paralysis and meaningless, breaking through the ice of inaction. Well, what do you mean by that, Sonia? Breaking through the ice of inaction? Because if you're freezing, you're in the state of inaction.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, so let's go on to the deer, that deer in the headlight, the freeze. So our patterns are, and I know for myself, I've had all of these reactions, but sometimes I just shut down. What's the
Hmm.
use? What's the use? I'm just going to shut down. I can't do this. I'm just going to shut down. So freezing, fight, flight, freeze, or fawn.
The people pleaser. I don't know of a single person that I have met that has food dysfunction that isn't always trying to please other people. We're either distracting ourselves by focusing on someone else, or we're making sure that we buy everything at the grocery store that we think they might like so that when they come and visit, they'll all be there for them. Making choices for restaurants that are probably not as healthy for us, but sacrificing our personal needs for the social harmony. That is so common. There's mirror neurons involved in this where our brains literally need to do what other people are doing. That's a common thing. Think about our brains as needing to stay in community, needing to stay connected. And so if we go outside of any choice that someone else is making, then we're not in community. And that's a scary place for some of us. These all of these fight and flight are generally considered the second tier down in the parasympathetic in the sympathetic nervous system, and freeze, fawn, and flop are designed have been added in as additional ways to look at this thing. I could have every single one of these at some point every day. So what we're trying to do right now is show you the different ways that your nervous system might be reacting, and to be reminded that this is an inside job. So understanding fear, it's not simply an emotion. I really got schooled in this by you, Patricia. Do you want to read this?
Fear is not simply an emotion. It's an emotion that lives above other emotions, conducting a complex symphony of feelings and responses in our bodies. It's a part. It's a protector. And what I have seen that happens, if we stay in the fear, we keep thinking we have to fix the fear, and we're dwelling on the fear. And that just keeps us in the fear. I know for myself, I kept thinking, I need to work on what's wrong with me. I need to work on what's wrong with me. Something's wrong. I've got to work on that. I've got work to do on what's wrong with me. And that just kept me criticizing myself. And what happens when I keep criticizing myself? What appeals in the distance to me? What's calling my name in the distance? Come, relax, have some of this. You'll do it again. You'll start again. You need some rest. So understanding the forest fire of being in the state of fear, and nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. You're just being directed to not keep looking in that. Something's wrong in the way you're looking. So let's try to look in another direction. And that's what we're going to talk about for the rest of this. It's a fear is an emotion, but it's a deep understanding. If you can say, oh boy, I'm really in a lot of fear here.
If you can just marinate in what if nothing's wrong? Just marinate in that for a minute. Because what that does, even if you've got a logical brain that says, yeah, but, yeah, but, yeah, but, I've got all this data to show how many things are wrong with me. What if you were to just marinate in the idea that this is a journey and that right now in this moment, if I were to say, what if nothing's wrong? Do you have any idea how much calming work that does for your body? What if nothing's wrong?
Our nervous system is on high alert in when we're in the state of fear. High alert. And what if nothing's wrong? Wait a minute, what does that mean? Maybe I'm being directed to look at something I haven't looked at. Maybe this is telling me, slow down here. You're being shown something. Not what's wrong, but you're being shown that this state of fear, maybe there's another direction to go here. And if you can even get to that understanding, we move from our mind, that amygdala in our mind going, ah, and we move to our heart, our center. I can feel the intake of breath.
There's something to be said for the protective umbrella of fear. It is a protective stand guard over, choreograph our survival dance. It is designed to just get us to move out of where we are because where we are, we don't like. And that's what I'm talking about when I say this brilliance of the Patricia's mantra is, what if nothing's wrong? And if you can stay with that, just think about what that does to your limbic system. If your limbic system says, oh, wait, what? What if nothing's wrong? Think about what falls away. I just get goosebumps thinking about it. There is so much about the reasons we go to food, and there are as many reasons that we go to food as there are people on this planet. So I don't want you to think that this is an easy dance. It's why you're here.
Right.
It's not supposed to be easy because it's taken us 50 plus years to gather up all of these neural pathways that we have and all these protective mechanisms. Every single time that I go to food and want to go to food, and I say food by meaning ultra processed garbage, every single time I want to go to ultra processed garbage, it's to soothe or nurture or support me somehow. It has nothing to do with my system. It has nothing to do with my neural pathways of health. It has everything to do with my neural pathways of fear and soothing.
And what if, when that happens, we do a turnaround in our mind about how we're plagued with this disease into what if I'm being directed to look more deeply at something? What if I'm just being directed? What if nothing's wrong? Because when we're in that, man, it's all wrong. And if we can go, wait a minute, what if I'm being led to see something that I never saw before? And I love what Teresa says here, because I want to talk about it for a second. I find myself putting tight restrictions on my vacations. I only want to stay in Airbnb. My head tells me it's the only way I can control around my food. I want to be less restrictive, but history has shown me that I will fail. Okay, that's loaded, Teresa. Thank you for putting that in there. Nothing's wrong with staying with an Airbnb so you can feel more comfortable and you can have your food align the way you want it to align. But, but the following after that, I have to, I want, this is where I am. It's really important to say, this is where I am. I'm in fear about this. What do I want? I want to be less restrictive. And then followed by, but history has shown me that I will fail. Notice how powerful a statement that is. Just notice nothing's wrong. You're not doing anything wrong, but we're going to kind of travel through those things we say to ourselves and be in order to begin to look at it in a new way, we have to see what we're saying. We have to hear it. We have to notice it, and we'll be going into that. So,
When we
yeah,
consider this idea that history has proven it, I just flashed for myself on my 20s and what a complete hot mess I was. When I look back on my 20s, I screwed the pooch 1,000 times in 1,000 different ways. And because our brains are designed to pick up all the negative, they are designed to grab a hold of that and category it and catalog it in my Google search amygdala. They're going to catalog every single thing that I think I did wrong. And I want you to remind yourself that it's what you think you did wrong. And that's your perception. So
right.
everything that I did wrong in my 20s is screaming at me. And I'm thinking to myself, why is it that we apply that concept that because I've always done it in the past, I'm going to continue to do it. When I can see in my 20s what a screw up I was, I am not a screw up now. But why is it that we think somehow that all that learning and all those life lessons are somehow completely restricted from talking about our food? Why is it? Well, there's a lot of neurological reasons why we go to do what we do. And one of the big things we're teaching today is to literally pause and strengthen that connection between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. Every time you pause, every time you stop for just a second, half a second, an 18th of a second, and notice, wait a minute, what am I doing here? Every single time, you're strengthening that connection and improving the ability for you to pause. You cannot tell me that you are in the same place you were if you 7 years into your preferred plan. You cannot tell me that you're in the same place you were 10 years ago. You're not.
You're not starting over. You're not starting from the day one. You're not in day one, wherever you are. You're not in day one, no matter what fear is feeding the amygdala. You have learned some things that can build upon the other and the other and the other. And that is kind of some of the things we're going to be going into next, the process of that.
Yeah, so let's walk through the last two. These are different ways. I just wanted to make sure everyone understood the massive extent of ways that we can mess up our food with all these different areas. And I'm not trying to make this feel impossible to shift because I don't believe that in any way, shape, or form. The littlest change is going to build on itself, and that's going to give you a tool that is going to help you in the next circumstance, in the next situation. I call it SWCC, stuff we can't control. We have no idea what's happening in the future. Teresa's Airbnb's kitchen could stop working, the power could go off, and then what? Right? We have no idea of knowing, and that could create a panic just thinking about it. I just want you to know future tripping is a thing. But when we can look at the emotional masquerade, for instance, when we experience fear around our food, shame hidden under perfectionism, we know that. We're very shamed because I wore my addiction on my sleeve for 40 years. I wore it. Everybody saw what my problem was. I'd see them looking at my what was in my cart. I'd see them judging me. Whoever knows if they really were, I don't know, but that's what I saw. I saw them judging me about what I took at the buffet table. I saw them judging me about my choices. And someone, I think it was Denise, said something about isolation. That's one of the main things that happens here is we isolate because we do not want other people to see these things. They're shame-filled. The childhood sadness masked as restriction. Sadness. Things happen to us in our childhood. You do not have to go back to those to be able to shift your perspective on them. I just want you to hear that. You don't need to completely open up that can of worms underneath in order for you to recognize that's an issue. And I'm going to approach it differently from now on. I'm going to look at this differently. I'm going to reframe this. Unprocessed grief, suppressed anger. Ooh, that's a big one. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel anger at all in my life. I shoved it away. I used food and disguised it. Deep longing, longing to be normal, to be accepted, to be connected and to belong. I love this violin though, by the way. I want it. You want to talk about this one, Patricia?
Conducts its protective orchestra through anxiety as its vigilant scout, anger as its fierce warrior, numbness as its protective shield, withdrawal as its silent guardian, people pleasing as its skilled diplomat. What we're trying to do here is get you, when you're in the fear, to notice you're in the fear. Before you can you move into processes that could help, you have to know that right now where I am is in fear when you're in it. You have to, and you are where you are. It's important to know, oh boy, and this is where I am. I'm really in a lot of fear in this moment. That's all what we've been talking about so far, is just to recognize, wow. So you can stand outside and watch it. Actually, you're standing inside and watching it from the inside, from your true self, when you can step aside and watch it from your center. Oh, wow, you crazy girl. You're crazy in this moment. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. What's going on?
I love what Kate asked, and I'd like to answer it. What is the trance-like pull to full? Trance-like pull to food. Think about a trigger, any trigger. It doesn't matter. It could be your kid really upset about something and you feeling like you have to fix it. It could be and of course everything underlying that as a parent. It could be, you're looking at the clock and you're not going to be able to fit everything in. Any number of things could cause our amygdala to get triggered. And once your amygdala triggers, your prefrontal cortex goes offline. That's your thinking part of your brain. It goes offline. So that's why you feel like, wow, I'm just watching myself go and eat this thing. I can't stop myself. That's the amygdala taking a hold and saying, okay, I've just done a Google search of all these things. And the thing that has worked before over and over and over again is this. And it makes us do that. It's not going to take time to have a planning session and go through weeks of reporting to determine the best course of action because it thinks it's in crisis. It goes right back to the idea that this is an inside job. There's something inside, but our vagus nerve has calculated that there's a crisis happening. It has sensed your heart rate going up because your son has just called you and he's upset about something. It senses your heart rate going up, your blood pressure possibly. It's sensing a physical crisis. And so if you can pause and go, hold up a minute, hold up, hold up. This is not external. This is an internal crisis, and this does not happen overnight. It might take a lot of reflection on the things that have happened to you in the last day or the last week or the last month or the last year. And there's a few things that we're going to talk about in just a minute to help you, support you in this. This is not an easy shift. And it's frustrating because we think we don't have any willpower. That's what the world thinks. And so we get this idea in our head, and it's just not true. It's just not true.
We shoot right for the limiting belief that we have.
Mhm.
And a limiting belief is just a thought that we think that's not serving us. Just a thought we think that's not, is that serving me? That's
I'd
not
like,
serving me.
before we do this next quick exercise, I'd like for you to just take a minute and think about something that you are really grateful for that you yourself have done for you today. It might take a little bit of a stretch. You might need to go back the last few days or the last week, but I want you to think about something that you have done for you. Something that has, maybe it's just attending this call, but something that you have done for you and appreciating what you are doing, the hard work that you are doing. And I want you to think about that when you give us your vegetable soup moment now.
Vegetable soup moment is what's a feeling I'm feeling in this moment right now. And Sonia has mentioned gratitude here, something I'm grateful for. And we're all a big pot of vegetable soup. All vegetables are welcome. What is the feeling you're having now?
I'd
No
like you to put it
answer.
in the chat thread. Yes. And I want you to remember that just as I mentioned this, you have just gone through you have just gone through a litany of painful living. And yet you are still able to sit in this moment and find something that you're grateful for about you. It's one of the things that is, to me, integral to self-compassion, is to recognize, because we are so focused on all the things we did wrong, so focused on all the things we did wrong.
Denise is relaxing, feeling a sense of relax. Eva is grateful to be here. Linda is exhaling in Mexico. Jennifer is having some anticipation. Tracy is grateful for time with her mom and son that she spent recently. Tommy is feeling a little lighter, losing. Okay, let me go up.
Hey,
Kate is took time to read my most meaningful daily reader and meditate. Lovely. Isn't that nice? Let's sit in that for a minute. And there's no wrong answers.
mm-mm.
Donna is still tense. Thank you for your honesty, Donna. You have to be where you are. You have to accept, this is where I am in this moment. Feeling calm, Teresa, and peaceful. So grateful for my health and how strong my muscles are getting. Cheryl is hopeful. Dural is feeling out of breath trying to keep up with y'all. Okay. We're going to give you a recording so you can listen to it again if you dare. Donna, I'm grateful for people near me who play games with and laugh and enjoy my life. Just think about reflecting on the gratitude and these grateful feelings. My heart is lifting up as I'm reading this. Elizabeth, baby steps in the right direction. Kelly's calm. Cheryl's feeling understood, important, right? When we feel we have not been understood before, she's feeling understood. I'm very flattered by that. Cheryl, thank you. Ellen feels some steadiness in the midst of fear activation as I think about a number of things that I like about what I did today in the midst of challenge. Yes, I was in challenge and I liked the things that I did in the midst of that. Christine, I feel very conflicted, as if a part of me is holding another part back with great effort and difficulty. Maybe that's so. What if nothing's wrong? Maybe you do have a part that's holding something back. There's reasons for it to be not through, but to be start on the journey of looking at this, Christine.
And honoring and respecting that part that is feeling like it needs to hold you back. That's the the respect piece about these outsized emotions is so important. Sorry, I interrupted you, Patricia.
No problem. This is nice, Rosemary. Grateful to my friend Kate, who told me about this Zoom. Ooh, that makes me feel good. Tommy, so glad you came. Yes, she was responding, responding to Rosemary. Cautiously optimistic, Mary Beth.
Mhm.
Gail Johnson, grateful for my willingness to be honest and keep working on my parts that want to turn to food and away from people. I want to just say something about willingness. And here's a mantra I use all the time. All I have to do is be willing. And sometimes I have to be willing to be willing. And sometimes I have to be willing to be willing to be willing. And Noreen says, I'm feeling some strength with my program. Good, Noreen. Okay. Thank you so much for participating in this vegetable pot of vegetable soup that we have going here.
The process that we helped walk you through today are the cornerstones that Patricia and I feel are so vital to long-term shifting and healing. It is not happening overnight, folks. There is no 30 days gummy bear thing that is going to remove all your weight and keep it off forever. It's not
Not
happening in
yet.
that
You're
way.
not taking this masterclass and be healed. I want it done. I want it over. I want to be through with this. I wish I could. Maybe I can. Bibbidi babbidi boo. Now you're healed. But we're just continuing our journey and learning and learning and learning as we go.
So the four cornerstones. Patricia, do you want to talk about the first one?
Yes. Notice. Notice. Oh my God, look what I just said to myself. I wouldn't have said that to my worst enemy. And I said it to myself. Oh my God, you're you're crazy, girl, right now. You notice, notice, notice. Watch it, look at it. We're not trying you to stop thinking what you're thinking. You're going to think what you think. Notice what you're saying to yourself. Just notice. Just notice. I know for myself when a big thing helped me when I noticed, I kept looking for what was wrong with me. I kept having a list of this is what I have to work on because this is wrong with me. And when I stopped looking at things as something's wrong with me, but I had to notice I was looking at what was wrong with me. So noticing is the primary foundational support. We're going to give you four foundational supports that really help you. And noticing is the first one. And you're not going to turn your life around like this, but we're living our life to learn and deepen. That's all. And awaken. Notice. Is this really true? What I just said, is that true? Is there another way I could look at this? But first we have to notice. Before we can look at another way to look at it, we have to notice how we're looking at it.
Oops, I didn't mean to lose my spot because resonance for me was the key to my healing. And I do not say that lightly. Resonance is the step that we have been skipping. Every single thing that we've said today that we've been critical of needs to be listened to, needs to be heard, needs to be respected. Those feelings that we have, that fear that we have, that abject fear that we have for all of these issues need to be respected because they're loud for a reason. We've been trying to shove them away. We've been trying to push them away. We've been trying to shove them into a little box somewhere so we don't have to think about it. Resonance is literally accompanying myself and others, accompanying them, not giving advice, not telling them that they need to be over here, not telling them that what they're feeling right now is going to hurt them, because technically it might. It might be painful to go through grief. It might be painful to go through sadness, but that's part of living vibrantly. I want to have all of the emotions, and I want to be able to recognize that I don't need to run kicking and screaming from fear or anger. I want to be able to live in this life and understand that there are some times when it's hard, sometimes when I'm in the fire swamp. So being able to be accompanied and have others resonate with what I'm thinking. They don't need to understand me, but I do not want them pushing me out of where I am. There are times when advice is very helpful. But resonance is the step that allows you to walk with your neighbor, allows you to walk with your friend, allows you to walk with them and not try to change them, because we need to be held in respect for how we're feeling in that moment. If we can't respect ourselves for this abject fear, it's amazing the looks on people's bodies, their shoulders relax, their jaws unclench when they're accompanied. Accompaniment is the start of real healing, honoring and respecting where we are in this moment, honoring and respecting our parts. And this is a skill that you get to develop or not, but it is a big, huge part of healing. Trusted connection is, in my opinion, required. We've seen it on so many levels. When we look at all the people that are walking with us on this journey, I don't know about you guys. I don't know how many people are on this call. I have no idea.
29.
I'm gonna unpin myself. Can you unpin Patricia, please? Tell me if you can. I want to see everybody. I suppose I could just change my view.
Yeah, I'm seeing everyone.
I need you all to look at each other for just a minute. There may be some faces on the screen that you don't know, and that might open up that part of our limbic system that shows fear. We might want to pull away. We might be afraid that they're going to see us, and if they see us, what are they going to know? They're going to know something. They're going to know that all this stuff about me is wrong and bad. The
Thank
concept of belonging in trusted community is vital, vital in order for us to be accompanied, which is what I talked about with resonance. We need to be able to notice what's happening and marinate in the resonance. And by that, I mean, just like with tofu, marinating, marinating in it,
better.
allowing it to sink in. What, Patricia?
It tastes better marinated.
It does. It does. It tastes better. Absolutely.
And it builds synchronicity, working together. So we're all coming from different places, right? We're all coming.
And there's a neurological reason why it's important to be able to highlight that for your day, to highlight the time when you were sharing something with some people and they really sat with you. They accompanied you. They felt what you felt. I don't know about you guys, but the sharing that I've seen on this in this group today has been amazing. Just think about what is going on underneath you and think about the how it felt to share that out, to say those things out loud on the chat thread.
And thank
Say
you
those-
for trusting this,
Yes.
trusting us, all of us, trusting all of us.
Trusted connection. It's really hard for people that are isolating. We
Yeah.
isolate because we just got back from the store and we have all these wrappers and we have to hide them and in the trash somehow and dig way deep down so no one will see them if they open up the trash can. That was my life for a really long time. We isolate because we can't climb down the stairs anymore because we've gained so much weight. That's what I did. We isolate because it's just too hard to be in that space and be the thing that we really want to be, and not be able to, oh, have all our mind and thought is on what's on that buffet table. Connection is vital, and it's really hard. So I really appreciate all of you that are on this screen right now. I really appreciate that. This is an important step.
And understanding it takes some time to understand what resonance means for others and for ourselves. When we're saying nasty things to ourselves, we don't think we're saying nasty things. We think we're trying to shape ourselves up. But when we're being critical to ourselves, resonance, learning how to speak to people and allow people to be where they are, allows us to talk to ourselves that way. And that's a process which is the last part. So we have four foundational parts. The last part of the four, practice.
As Patricia would say, practica, practica.
Practica, practica, practica.
How many days are you on Duolingo?
Almost 1,000 straight days. Not that I know how to speak Spanish, but I've been on it for 1,000 days.
So the process around practice is literally required for new neural pathways. We all know about neuroplasticity. We've all heard that till we're sick in the head about it. But the fact is, neuroplasticity requires practice. And that's why we wanted you to be engaged today, because that practice and that awareness and that stepping up, our glial cells sweep away anything that we don't retain or that we don't practice. So that's one of the reasons why you might take a master class somewhere and be like, oh my God, I don't even remember what that was about. The practice is required in order for our neural pathways to start beating down that Amazon bush of unused space. So noticing and reflecting rather than beating up and regret, showing up and being willing. You don't have to have all the answers. You might even be very afraid. I'm really proud of everybody for coming here when they knew we were going to be talking about fear, for God's sakes. Really proud of you.
So foundational points that we feel that Sonia and I have found from working in groups, working with individuals, working with ourselves, first of all, were these four things: notice,
Resonance.
resonance, community, doing it as a group to synchronize ourselves and others, and practice. It's not an overnight thing. You're not going to finish this hour. Now you know how to do everything. You won't even know how to do these four foundational things. But that's what our course will go into. But we wanted to give this to you, even if you don't take the course, but hopefully you will look into what this art of have a little bit of a taste of what can be offered in the art of recovery. And here are some things that people have said about our course who've been in it, who are still in it, or may still be in it, or have been in it. The work I'm doing with you is powerful and means so much to me. It's helping me see self-regulate my nervous system. Fear. Self-regulate my nervous system like never before. And as a result, I can hear and think in a new and different way.
I realize that I have choices in my life when I didn't think I had any. I've had to look at my control and perfection issues and realize it's not just about the food. The classes, coaching, and group interaction have changed my life.
Willingness to look at issues. I have buried a willingness to look at issues I have buried under food. That's what she has picked up from this course. Self-trust that I am not going to be lost inside the deep cavern of my feelings. I feel that. Learning to ride emotions instead of drowning in the undertow. Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah. Learning to ride emotions instead of drowning in the undertow. Oh, it gives me goosebumps. The freedom that comes with knowing that I am right where I am supposed to be. What if nothing is wrong? It has helped me relax and be able to get curious about my feelings and food cravings. In turn, the volume of my cravings has turned way down. Really important. There are no quick fixes. You might be able to lose a bunch of weight on a particular program. The fact is,
We
until we
all
deal
have,
with the underlying issues, until we
all have, and we've gained it back. We are here because we've all lost it and gained it back, or we're holding on to bloody fingernails to hold on, or we're okay, but we might have fear we can't hold on. What if nothing's wrong? What if we're being pointed in a direction that's ultimately going to be there to help us? Okay.
What Patricia and I have been doing this last several months is expanding the journey. We have an original Art of Recovery course that is all available if you want it. You can message me if you are interested in it. It has really transformed people, as you could see by just those few comments. There's another masterclass from a couple of weeks ago that we gave that some people came on and talked about the impact that original course has done. And what we decided was that we needed to expand on this. There are not 12 topics that will fix you. There are 12 million different aspects of this food recovery, and we chose these 12 to talk more deeply about. I'll go into just a few of them. The words matter, master reframing. The highly sensitive person and food. I believe we are all very sensitive, and we have used food rather than cocaine or alcohol or cigarettes. We have found food, and we found it early. We found it early, kids. Willpower, understanding your resources, attachment versus authenticity, healing the split. These are all designed from Patricia and my experience, and also from all the years of education that we've given ourselves. So I'm really looking forward to this new list and these new topics that will adjust and shift. My hope is they will adjust and shift you. This is how the course looks logistically. The practical path where tools meet. First month, there are 4 modules. It starts technically it starts January 25th, which is next Saturday. And it'll be at this same time, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. There will be 3 coaching one-on-one sessions available to you. They're 20 minutes long, and you can choose either Patricia or I, and neither one of us will be upset if you choose one or the other. No loyalty issues there. You will also have 4 coaching calls during this time. So on top of the Saturday calls, we've added a Thursday evening coaching session that is open to any question under the sun, because frankly, everything under the sun can impact our food. So the coaching sessions are available on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And the modules will be starting on the 25th, and they will go for 12 weeks. We think we're probably going to end up with 14 weeks on this program, but basically 12 weeks. The second section will be the curious heart, and the third will be the awakening self, that will be focusing on the 3 different, what Patricia coined, the 3 different layers of art of recovery. This is the course that I just gave you outlined here in a different way. Sometimes people need words instead of pictures. It will cost $3.99. If you have taken this course before, I want you to hear there's a coupon for that. So please reach out to me if you don't know what it is. And we do have these classes starting on Thursday night for the coaching call, and the new class will start on Saturday. Any questions or anything anybody else wants to say who's been here and done this thing? Anything else that you have that you're curious about? I do love this picture so much.
I love that picture, and I'm happy to say something as someone who's taken the other courses and just monumental shifts that I made that were so small that I can't even pin it down, but has really moved me through a lot of tough situations. And that says a lot, because a year ago I was getting ready to have my first of 2 knee replacements and found out 6 days before surgery that I couldn't have it because, surprise, I weighed too much. And my doctor didn't make that clear. So I had done all the things mentally, but not physically. But I didn't know that. So if you had told me then, and of course the art of recovery was starting right about then, if you had told me then that I would be thankful that it was postponed until May, I would definitely not believe that. But I grew so much through those months, and it has no small part to do with having this community. And now that we have grown it to an extra call on Thursday, it's so rich, and it's such a trusting community. And you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to be doing anything right, and you don't have to be anything other than where you are and willing, or willing to be willing, or willing to be willing to be willing. It all starts with noticing, and you're all noticing or you wouldn't be here. So just saying, that's why I said I would love to see you all, and I jumped the gun saying that a little early in the chat, but I just feel how hungry you are, even if, sorry for the pun, hungry you are for more. And these wonderful women just do it right. They're there to lead you and be next to you and meet you where you are. And where I was a mess when I started. I felt a mess. I wasn't a mess. I felt a mess. A part of me might have been a mess.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And can I just
So
say,
I just
Tommy,
can't say enough. So I've said enough, because I could just go on and on.
but I would like to go on and on for a minute. You didn't just have 1 knee replacement. You've had 2. You've had 2 knee replacements. Congratulations, Tommy.
Thank
And
you.
I just want to say, we're not taking credit for Tommy's weight loss or Tommy's, this is Tommy's work. This is Tommy's work
I'm
that
not
she,
even taking credit for it, honestly, but that's not 100%. It takes a village. It takes a village. This is my village. You're the village.
absolutely. Absolutely. Does anyone have any questions or anything else they'd like to say? I know quite a number of you here are already in the Art of Recovery, the new course starting next Friday or next Saturday. Anything? No, it's fine if you're not. Yeah, go ahead, Ellen.
I just want to say, well, there are small, lots of little things that I could say, but just in this moment, I'm just feeling quiet, and I'm feeling really intimately with myself the vulnerability of people, and really recognizing that really kind of a deep fear of people, even this deep longing and caring and enjoying people, this deep vulnerability is what fuels a lot of my food, and I eat to shut that fear down. But anyway, so I'm actually not going to talk much, but I do want to say that I am signed up for the course, but I won't be able to be here the first time. And there may be on Saturdays some conflicting work commitments that are not changeable for me. So I just wanted to introduce myself today and let you kind of feel and see my face and my voice and my presence. I'm actually an educator, and I work in mental health, and I work in brain-based treatments and many things. And so this is the domain of myself not being tended in the work that I do with others. And so it's sort of, deeply exposing all my experience of how that comes to be and what that means. So I'm just wanting to introduce myself, because everybody's going to be starting off, or people will be, resuming that already know this work. I'm appreciating the surround that's been created by Sonja and Patricia. And I just wanted you all to know me and kind of You know,
Yes.
dogs, when they get together, they like sniff each other and they say hello and whatever, you know, sometimes in very odd places, which is not what I'm suggesting. But I just wanted to say hello, and I wanted you to know that I'm here and that I'm really going to very slowly allow myself, because I've been in different groups, I've done all the things, caring people, all that. But I'm just going to really slowly allow my body and my sense of, you know, all the awarenesses that we carry to like experience this other experience that I'm already sensing is available to me here. And I just wanted you to know that I'm with you all, and I'll be watching the recordings. And that even though, because, you know, sometimes you start out and then you sort of miss the connection that begins in the beginning. So I just want to say hello to you all today. So
Thank you for saying that, Ellen. And I can
yeah.
understand having some fear, especially since you've talked about having the fear of not, fitting in and being left behind. I want you to know that we will do our best to help you in that way and understand that's something, that's an internal thing, and hopefully we can have you feel safe enough and thanks for your vulnerability. Just saying that, Ellen, is going to be so powerful for you.
Yes. And you know how dogs, like most of them will like roll over for other dogs and they're like, I'm not a threat. I'm not a threat. So I want you to like hold me that way. And also maybe think of me or just keep me in the group presence, because I can't start out the first time with everybody. So thank
Okay,
you.
that's a good thing. And we have the Art of Recovery Facebook page, so people can, I'm going to be alerted to say hi to you, Ellen, in that Art of Recovery Facebook page also. Yeah.
There are so many things about our talk today that I want you to hear, regardless of whether or not you start with us. This noticing and resonance is a huge part. But just thinking, I hope you grasped what I was talking about the difference between your body recognizing the threat and your realization that this is actually an inside job that I need to work on using my whole brain. Thank you very much, body. That's our sentient mind that can make that shift. And it takes time and it's hard. And as I mentioned earlier, SWCC, stuff we can't control. My mom and my dad passed away in the last 18 months. Boy, howdy, being the medical power of attorney and all that, and keeping this going, that was a challenge that I will probably never repeat that particular thing. But what I've learned, my muscles have learned, and my body and my brain have learned things that will help me with the new thing that's going to come around the corner that I don't know about yet, and that I don't need to be afraid of. That new thing around the corner, I can look at with practicality, and I can know I've got a team here. I got people that are standing shoulder to shoulder. I got people with me. Do you want to say something, Cheryl?
I would add that it starts with the smallest step. I would have thought those were just words because I didn't, I started with a real small step and just accepting and that I was where I was. And with that, the potential for things coming in to make sense. Something's going to hit you and make sense, many things. And it did for me. And it has made a huge difference. It has released me from that panic and that fear, and my nervous system is allowing me to kind of make changes here and think differently and feel differently. But I just wanted to say it starts with the tiniest little step. And I thought that was just bullshit, but it's not, it wasn't for me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl. That was beautiful. You're right. It does start with the next step and the tiniest step. And I agree with you. My logical brain, when I first started talking about this, noticing with Patricia, I'm like, God, this is just so passive. This is so passive. I need action. But it has been the most active thing that we can do. And the more that I learned about the brain science behind it, the more amplified I was about those tiny little shifts and the amazing thing that can be done. And I'm still thinking about those dogs rolling over and sniffing each other, Cheryl, Ellen. I just wanted to know that it's an awesome visual. I think I'm going to probably find an image so that we can use that as part of our art of recovery. It's awesome. It's beautiful. Thank you. Laughter is such an important thing. Don't forget to lighten up. Oh gosh, we get so intense about this stuff. Go ahead, Patricia.
I was going to say something. I lost my thing with laughter. Oh yeah. So these, this is something we practice. It's practice and practice, and little by little, you add a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit. Because we start out going, just tell me what to do. I'll do it. I want it over. I want you to understand I'm 80 years old and it is not over yet for me. And I'm still learning and applying and bringing it to myself, to people around me. You're not done. I had something happen this week that really threw me off for an afternoon. Well, and sometimes it might take a few days, but I know I have tools to practice going through things that when my amygdala goes, "Ah," when fear came up in a big way for me this week. And we just deal with it. It's not about it's never going to come up again. We're not saying you will never feel these feelings. We're saying you will. And how do we deal with it? We're going to notice it. We're going to get resonance for it. We're going to be in community talking about it. And we're going to practice.
I want to say a couple of things about the chat thread. Lots of support for Ellen and your share. Tracy says, Sonja and Patricia, you do fantastic, important healing work, as does everyone else here. Glad I came to hear about it today. I've missed you, darling. Christine says, thank you, Cheryl. Linda P says, I wanted it to be about the food and have found out it's about more than just the food. Kate says, so true. Yeah, we would really love it to be an easy fix. But I do believe that our food dysfunction is a gift.
Yeah. What if it's a gift? What if we're being led to look at something we haven't been able to look at before?
It's a gift. And you can shift your perspective on it. My dad called me sophisticated when I was 5 years old and I had terrible asthma. My allergies were off the charts, and my body was more sophisticated if I looked at it that way. And a 5-year-old with this brain did figure that out, and my dad was right. My system is more sophisticated than others as far as allergies are concerned. But that was able to send me on that reframe path. What if your food issues are a gift? Just think about the times that you go to food. That usually means you haven't had enough self-care. It usually means you haven't had enough sleep. It usually means, maybe it means that your food plan is off. It also means that there's something underlying. That's what we're dealing with here. There's something underlying that you have not been able to address yet. But your, excuse me, but your old ass self is now able to, because we've got a little more bandwidth than we did, and a little more knowledge and a little more awareness than we used to. This is a gift, if we want to look at it that way. And why not? Because it's never going to go completely away. It will turn down. The volume will turn down. It will. And it probably already has. But we've been so fixated on things that we haven't realized how much work we've already done.
Yeah. And it's never gonna, we're just going deeper. We're just going deeper. Nothing's wrong. We're just learning, oh, something's come up. Oh boy. Well, what if nothing's wrong? Something's coming up. Looking at the universe as being benevolent instead of feeling like a victim of everything that's around us.
I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Your presence has been so appreciated, and I can tell you that resonance and presence are really linked, and you guys have all been very present today, and I'm really grateful for that.
And this is an approach to the food that's a deeper dive than only the food. It's a deeper dive.
If you have any other questions, the email I sent out, if you're on my email list, the email sent out has a link to either my or Patricia's Calendly to schedule something to talk to us. You're welcome to do that if you've got any more questions. And yeah, Noreen says, not to mention a little more connection, Sonia. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Have a wonderful day. Cheryl says, oh, I can't stop thinking about these. I got to make sure I get them all in. It's
All
about the weight we carry.
are-
Oh, yes. Oh, that's brilliant. Cheryl says it's about the weight we carry inside. Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you all. So appreciate you and your time and your efforts and your energy. Thank you.